Welcome to the Peak Performance and Peak Satisfaction podcast with Master Executive Coach Sherry Gregoff. Sherry helps business people perform better, get rewarded handsomely, and actually enjoy their work. After having her own career turnaround, she now helps other high-powered business professionals experience the same. Join the movement to work differently.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. If you have ever felt inspired to shift your career goals over time, you may notice how hard it is to adjust your expectations and your plan. As Type A planners, flexibility may not come naturally, and indecision can creep in. In this episode, we will cover how to shift the vision for your career from one you may have aimed for across decades to a new frontier. Before we jump in, I want to shout out one of my clients who had a win in this area. Here is the quote from her. "I realize now that this opportunity to go after my entrepreneurship dream was the absolute right one for me. I have zero regrets about my decision." This client had been in a successful corporate career for many years. She had a dream of becoming an entrepreneur and applying one part of her skill set to form a new career. She trained deeply in this new field and garnered the certification, clocking hours in this new role. But then she kept doing her corporate day job. When we probed why that was, the first thing that came up was that she was good at it. That was proven. She has the feedback and performance ratings to confirm it. She enjoyed the steady paycheck and seemingly low level of risk associated with continuing to do a job that she had mastered. When she considered spending more time on her entrepreneurship dream, it seemed like uncharted waters. She felt confused about where to start. When honest with herself, she also questioned whether she had the skill or experience to be successful in this new role. She confessed that she deemed herself as someone who wasn't good at making big life decisions and would avoid them for fear of getting it wrong. For all these reasons, that entrepreneurship dream got shelved as a potential second act to pursue one day. In our coaching together, we got her crystal clear on what she deeply wanted. Upon further investigation, it was staying in her current role that was the biggest risk to her health and well-being. What she really wanted was to make that second act now. We even articulated the exact circumstances under which making that move would feel tenable. A generous severance package would make it a no-brainer. Within the week, as part of a reorganization, she was offered said severance package and 2 other roles at the same company that wanted to hire her. This was her moment to make a decision in line with her vision and priorities. She embraced the shift of her career goals and took this opportunity to actively pursue them, without time pressure or undue urgency on her nascent business. Without clarifying her vision ahead of time, she might have panicked at the prospect of a severance package and accepted another role in an attempt to maintain security and safety of a corporate paycheck. In this case, she decided to make her second act now and has zero regrets about that decision. Similar victories are shared by all of my clients, and I have experienced it too in my own career turnaround. So let's hop to today's podcast content and get you on your way to experiencing this also. Today, we are talking about what to do if you are feeling the pull to explore a different direction in your career. Have you used the term second act? I have several clients who have started to dream of a different direction in their career, but then promptly put it on the back burner for once they retire or reach a certain age. Together, we take that new dream off the shelf and consider whether it's really what they want right now. This takes making some decisions that can shift the course of their work and focus immediately. If you have ever felt a pull to explore a different direction in your career, but aren't sure what to do with it, today we will get you clarity. To start, let's get honest with ourselves about what we want by tuning into our own intuition. We begin with some powerful reflection questions. You should know by now that I love these. Let me tell you why. The only person on earth who can tell you the best next chapter to create in your career is you. There is no AI bot or magic 8-ball that can tell you the best decision for you. Sometimes we would like to farm out that decision and delegate it to someone else. A boss, a parent, a spouse, a best friend, anyone to take us off the hook of deciding our own fate and seeing it through. We are funny creatures, aren't we? When it comes down to getting honest with ourselves about what we want, sometimes we will do anything to avoid that question. But not today. Today, in the comfort of wherever you are listening to this from, privately and without any danger of judgment or blowback, answer these questions honestly, with the answers that are authentic to you. Shake off how your colleague would answer, or anyone else's answers that you can imagine, and answer it only for you. What inspires you in your work? What do you look forward to in your work? Is your next aim to continue in your career as is? To reshape your workday within your current role? Or do you feel called to something even more different? Clarity is a rarity these days. There is so much noise and there are so many recommendations. Influencer is now a job title, for goodness sakes. We may have been trained to follow the crowd, to give the answers expected, to make other people comfortable by saying what they want to hear. We may have done this and gotten positive reinforcement on it. It can feel difficult to tune into our own intuition and desires about what we want to create next in our career. But we can decide to outgrow that routine. Putting everyone else's expectations and opinions above our own will keep us playing small and staying safe for fear of upsetting the apple cart. Sometimes I feel like I am forming and encouraging a band of rebels. We are flipping the script on how society thinks things should be done. It takes courage to be different and a drive to work our best careers and live our best lives. The payoff, though, is priceless. Living in full integrity, alignment, and authenticity breaks off every limit that may have held us back, even for a lifetime. This is loving our work and loving this life. This is exactly what I deliver to my clients in our coaching together. It's unusual to pause in our careers to really take stock and be honest with ourselves about what we want. It's easier sometimes to put our head down and do the work directly in front of us. Our work can become a way to pass the time, a means to an end in the form of a paycheck. We may even forget that we have a say in what we do, how we do it, where we do it, and with whom we work. Instead, it is common to default to the plan we put in place, sometimes long ago. Whether it was upon graduating from college or finding an industry we liked, we might have set a career vision as our expectation, and then just followed the plan without giving it any new critical thought. Next, let's look at why reevaluating the career plan you may have established many years ago is valuable. You are changing. Your environment is changing. It's always good to reevaluate assumptions we made long ago. We'll need to go deeper than the external factors at work, societal norms, distraction, and likely plenty of work on the desk in front of us, to the more subconscious forces at work too. Our brain will suggest that status quo is the safest strategy for survival, when really, it's actually the biggest risk. Defaulting to our current situation without critical thought or intention makes working our best careers and living our best lives a lower probability. We can be scared of making the wrong decision. If we have already had a successful career, changing that direction can sound like a dangerous risk. Our brain offers that status quo is always safest because it's kept us alive. In a realm where survival equals success, that might be true. But you and I, we are not aiming to just survive. We are here to thrive. And that takes adjusting the plan as we go, as we grow and evolve, and as our environment changes too. The fear of making a wrong decision can be compelling and even keep us from taking the question head on about what we truly want next in our career and life. Maybe we have a couple of paths available or in mind, and we feel torn about which to pursue. My clients and I spend a healthy amount of time on their career strategy, setting a vision for what they want and deciding the most effective way to get there. For the first task, deciding what they really want, the truth is, there is no right answer. There's only the answer that is true to you, that you actively decide to make right. This fact should relieve some of the pressure on clarifying your own vision. This isn't a gotcha question. Sometimes we avoid it because we don't want to answer wrong. Other times we avoid it because we know that when we draw a line in the sand, we may feel compelled to go after it, and that can seem scary or uncomfortable. I create an environment for my clients that is comfortable and secure, such that they feel compelled to stop indulging in confusion and cut through the noise to tap into their own intuition and be honest about what they want next in their careers. Sometimes this simple act opens the floodgates of this very vision to come rushing into their situation. Putting words to your career vision can set things in motion for it to come to fruition. In the last quarter alone, these are examples of this happening for my clients. A client told me, "My dream role is to take my boss's job." 6 months later, this boss announced he is leaving and throws all his weight behind her as his successor. Another client told me, "I'd like to use these last several years of my career to leave a legacy." Less than 3 months later, a role was shopped to this client, 2 levels up from where he was in the organization, with much broader impact across the firm that would leave a lasting influence. Another client told me, "I think I can take more of a leadership role in this specific developing market for my company, but it's been assigned elsewhere." Less than 3 months later, that market was reassigned and the opportunity was there for the taking. Another client told me, "I'd like to start moving towards becoming my manager's successor and the C-suite." A week later, his manager resigns and he starts reporting directly to the C-suite to take more of his former manager's job. My message to you is this. When you speak your dream career vision aloud, it turns out it may be far closer than you think. Many times, the exact scenario a client describes to me as their ideal outcome is exactly what happens next. When they say it out loud to me, they describe it as a long shot, sometimes even apologetically, as though it may feel greedy describing the vision they truly want. And then it happens. Sometimes a year from then, sometimes 4 months from then, and for my most recent examples, within the week. My clients seem shocked. I am not. I see this pattern too often. When they describe their vision to me, I see it as completely doable and even inevitable. My belief in them and their circumstances catching up to them is fully there. I help them see how it can be inevitable and to take steps towards it daily. Those even small actions have a significant influence over what they see as possible, then probable, and ultimately inevitable. When the impossible happens, they report it to me, initially in disbelief. Sometimes they start to talk themselves out of having wanted it, and I remind them, this is exactly what you wanted for yourself. My message to you is that we are so powerful. Know that your circumstances can change suddenly in the best of ways. I'd call it coincidence, but that would be inaccurate. When we get clear on what we want and set it as an intention, however far off or infeasible it may seem, it sets us on a path to achieve it. When we commit to our dreams, even in the small way of communicating them out loud to someone else, it's a first commitment to making them real. In less time than you ever imagined, your dream starts taking shape in real life, and eventually, right before your eyes. I too have experienced this firsthand, with shocking developments that only occurred once I created the clear intention. In other cases, it can be more of a slow burn, or a process to get crystal clear on what it is we want. There are specific ways to gauge whether to pursue your shifting career vision or dismiss it as a fleeting idea. Here's an example. When clients tell me that they have an urge to change roles, change companies, change careers, we investigate that urge. Here are some of the indicators to look out for to gauge whether this is a true blue desire or a fleeting idea. If you desire change to desperately get out of the situation you are currently in, our first work is finding a level of contentment and gratitude for exactly where you are now. When we feel insufficient or unsafe or wrong where we are at the moment, it's just a recipe for running in circles where we are, spinning in our head, attempting to make moves out of desperation. This formula will not get us to a better situation. If you desire a change in your career because you are running towards your vision rather than running away from your current situation, get very specific on what you want to change, why, whether it's in alignment with your priorities and values. Consider the rocker test. If you're sitting in a rocker on a porch at the end of your life, sipping a drink and reflecting back, would you be able to totally stand behind going for this vision and going for it hard? Finding sufficiency for where you are now enables you to be clear-headed when designing your future. Fight or flight is not the state to be in when deciding your next step. Here's the next thing to contemplate. Is this a second act? Is this really far away? Or could this be something you start creating today? Our brain is prolific at offering up excuses to stay in the status quo for now and make this change later. After I earn this much, after I retire, after this promotion, when my life circumstances change, then I'll go after what I really want. We think we don't have permission or energy to go for what we want right now. The only one limiting us, however, is ourselves. This is a pivotal moment and realization. The only limits on our success and satisfaction are the ones that we accept. And when we keep postponing really living and working our best careers as defined on our own terms in this season of our career, we make this assumption that there will be more time, that we will suddenly feel ready. But tomorrow is never promised. Living months, quarters, years until your someday, when you will shift into the gear you actually want, that is the biggest risk. It's the biggest gamble to assume you will have another opportunity to go for what you want years from now. So when my clients tell me their dream of a second act, the one that they'll pursue maybe after retirement, all I hear is that they are uncomfortable adjusting their own plan and expectations. This is a tremendous opportunity to get radically honest with ourselves about why we need to stay status quo. Is it because of what others might think if we were to make a change? Is it fear of failure? Is it not wanting to look foolish? Is it not trusting ourselves and our judgment? Is it wanting to avoid buyer's remorse and regretting the decision later? There is a single truth that can counteract most of these reservations. It starts by resetting your own perspective on decisions and consequences. We never lose. We always win or learn. This recasts all decisions and actions as opportunities to learn and to get more perfect information about a situation. Most of us would like to have perfect insight and every fact about a decision before we make it. We could gather information, sure, But no one has a crystal ball, so we will always be making decisions with imperfect information by design. If we look at any step forward as either bringing the winning outcome that we wanted or uncovering valuable feedback that will inform our next decision, then there is less pressure to get it right out of the gate. Usually what keeps us stuck is the fear of failure or losing. If we recognize that any step forward is indeed progress, even if it isn't an immediate win, then we are motivated to keep making decisions and taking the next step forward. There's only one person you need to answer to when it comes to following what may feel like a calling or deep desire to evolve your career. It's you. Being preoccupied with others' opinions, whether they will agree this was the right career move or not, whether they see only downside, but maybe you have more perfect information of the downsides associated with status quo, whether they are projecting their own fears and insecurity on you. The only person who knows best what's next for you in your career is you. At first, it might feel like a hunch or urge, a change that's impossible. When you take a step forward on it, you might realize that it is possible, but improbable. Take a few more steps towards it, and suddenly it starts to feel more probable. Maybe you start vocalizing your vision more and committing to it, and then it becomes inevitable. I have seen this pattern so many times for myself. It's got me hooked, actually. I start sharing my vision in a calculated way. The more I know I am committed to it publicly, the more I see myself as the person who's already done it, the more certain it is to happen. I spot more opportunities to create it. Brilliant ideas to advance it come to me. It truly is like opening the floodgates on your dreams. No second act labeling or postponement needed. No apologizing for having shifted your career vision from what you pursued for a long time. Just embracing the authenticity and integrity of following the call inside you. I know we usually kick off with a client win, but today I'm closing with one too. In this podcast and in my work, we note that performance and satisfaction go hand in hand. The scope of our work goes far beyond career, to health and relationships too, since success is interdependent between them all. In this example, the shifting goals were taking place at home too. I had another client who had big dreams. She had started a new career as an entrepreneur, but it still felt heavy. Fatigue was dominant, and challenges in her personal life weighed on her. When we coached together, I encouraged her to clarify her vision of what she wanted next. In her career, it was increased business growth, income, and stability. At home, it was for her spouse and children to be thriving, better health care for all of them, a community they identified with that would reinforce their emphasis on continuous improvement and growth. When she clarified her vision, it was a move. Moving states, moving homes, for better resources and more opportunity. Knowing she would be the leader in her home to make this move a reality, she did the mindset work and the legwork to get there. She worked through her fears and reservations with me to accept and pursue her vision. She moved states. And here's what happened next. In her career, her business grew 3 to 4x within a year. She developed a steady workload and work routine as an entrepreneur and describes it as amazing, fun, and she loves her work. In her relationships, better access to high-quality health care allowed 2 family members to get better solutions to long-standing issues and to thrive. Her spouse clarified his own career dream and secured a role doing exactly that. Work that felt more like a calling and fills him up. Her children are thriving in all the ways she had prayed for them to. In her own wellness, she fully owned her role as the leader of her household, setting the schedule and routines, refining it to one that worked for everyone. Everyone's core work, professionally or in school, extracurriculars, and daily downtime for rest as a family together. She takes care of herself by always starting her day in quiet prayer to fill her own cup, after getting at least 8 hours of sleep, and by taking multiple outdoor walks each week, and scheduling days off for self-care on her own. She recognized that none of these positive changes would have been possible without moving states and her making that bold decision to do so. When I think of this client, this family, their work and their community, their well-being, all having significantly improved, I am overwhelmed with joy and gratitude. I am so proud of this client for clarifying her vision and then making it a reality. It happened one step at a time. What might have been seen as a second act or a new vision for her career and life to be postponed was moved up and realized now. She and everyone around her benefited. This is the power of clarifying what you want to create next and taking active steps to make it real. With every step, there will be more clarity and valuable feedback to inform your next move. Stating your vision aloud and moving forward towards it is where this begins. Are you ready to do this for yourself? If you would like a thought partner on this journey, know that this is what I do. I help business people set their vision and then create it. The process itself is enjoyable, and the results are even better. The impact of this is felt in our businesses, by our clients, and by our families and communities. Let's get to it. Until next time.
Looking for support in applying the principles and strategies in today's episode? Sherry coaches clients one-on-one as their trusted confidant and advisor, helping each client create the work and life they had only dreamed of. To schedule your complimentary career strategy session, go to sherrygregoff.com/apply to book time with her today. It's one simple step that can change everything.